What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Compound today. This one is at the request of Apache Garage. Mr. Apache Garage, we're doing this one for you. You said do it. We're doing it, man. Looking at this here, I have a white line drawn because we found resistance here at a previous area where we found support, so that just kind of makes sense. I'm just showing that to kind of give an overall explanation as to why we might have seen this retracement, right? And where are we in this overall retracement? From low to high. That's not the low, by the way. That is the low there. We're on the monthly scale on the Coinbase chart. You can see we've actually gone right in the sweet spot, and on a monthly basis we have about, oh no, I'm sorry, this is on a weekly. This is on the weekly. I was like, we do not have 2 days left. This is the weekly scale. I'm sorry. On the week, we have about 3 days left in this week, and it could be a bullish engulfing week. Now, that's nice to see. It is 10% to the green side. Are we done going down? I think Compound could be one of those cryptos that is done going lower. It might. It also has the possibility still to revert back to its 786, if not even its 886 retracement. It could see deeper retracements. I don't know. We'll kind of dive into it more and see if that's at all a possibility. If the move going up right now will continue, if we're done going down, whatever. We do have some kind of a triple bottom on the weekly. You can see it here, and I'm not a big fan of triple bottoms. You got a bottom here on this week, and this week here. To some degree, it is a lower bottom. That could have been a fake out, and then now we're engulfing up. That does look bullish, but where's the volume, man? Where's the volume? How come this candle is the biggest candle we've seen since this one, and there's no volume? There's actually like half the amount of volume as a lot of these candles had. To be fair to that, this candle was a pretty big candle with no volume too. Maybe we have to retrace a little bit. Let's see, comp USDT on Binance. There's a little bit more volume there, right? Still not a lot of volume on this. I wonder, so if we take this low to this high here, we bounced right off of that sweet spot, right? We're at this high to this low now. I mean, yeah, maybe we do like a retracement before moving lower. Maybe Compound does go lower. Maybe it is at its low. I don't know. It's hard to say. But from here, I would expect that we would at least make a move. We're at $40.83 right now. I would expect that we at least make a move up to about the $50 area, if not just below $50. Maybe we even go up to the 0.5. Maybe we even go to this sweet spot up here, and then potentially from there turn around and go back lower. Maybe we turn around and we form a higher low, something like that. But at the present moment, just looking at this thing on a weekly rough kind of estimate, I would expect that we see a price around $50 before we go lower, if we are to go lower. In fact, I think that we could go lower still. I think it's totally possible that we could go lower still. It just might take time. Nothing moves in a straight line. If it does, it's just a matter of time before you have a retracement, and this move can still go lower even if we were to gain like 25% from here. Okay, so looking at the weekly here, very strong, just beautiful looking RSI, man. It could stand to go lower as well, but I will say this, bouncing off of this 40 area, bouncing right off of this 40 area like this, got a hair on my tongue, that's a very bullish sign. Bouncing off of your bearish area of control is a very bullish sign. You got it here, and the sad part about it is, even though it's a very bullish sign, here you bounced off it, it promoted some growth, but you inevitably gave it back, right? Here you bounced off it, promoted some growth, but you inevitably gave it back. So, I don't think that we're going to have the same results as we did back here. I do think that we will end up promoting higher lows overall, but is this the low? Is this the higher low? That's the question. For now, I think it is a low. It might just be a low, we move up, and then we get a lower low, but it's ultimately a higher low, right? Something like that. We're going to look at the daily to kind of more fine-tune that, and let's just see how legitimate this move looks. So from a daily perspective, on the RSI, you've got very nice bullish divergence. Right, you've got your low there and your low there. It's a slightly higher low to this lower low here. Double bottom looking kind of thing, actually. It's almost like an atom. It's like a W in itself. It might be a completed W at this point, but it can go higher. It can definitely go higher. Very bullish looking daily RSI, I gotta say. Where this formed, we've technically made that move. All we have is a lower high. I wonder what this fib is telling us from top to bottom here. we have retraced basically exactly to the sweet spot. We haven't rejected it yet. You know, we're coming up right now to really test it. Let's see how we do. If we can break above 41, if we break above about $42 on a daily basis, if we can close above that, that would really solidify the idea that we could go higher to this $50 range. And look at that, the 1272 is right there at 48.5. The 1414 right there at 50. We might even go to 53 at the 1618. And what else corresponds with that 1618? Previous area of support, previous area of support. Confirm it as resistance and then maybe go lower, something like that. That could happen. We might not even make it that high. And again, it all starts with this 69618 area, which just happens to be at about, let's see if we can get these numbers going. No. 41 to $42, basically 41 and 73 cents actually. So if you can get a day not just to wick above like it did here, but to close above, I would say that these extensions are very likely going to happen in a relatively short amount of time. Definitely before the end of the year, maybe not, you know, before the end of the month, but it could happen before the end of the month. We're only halfway through the month right now as we're speaking, but this daily RSI looks very strong, man. Closing above this 50, coming off of this bullish divergence, kind of double bottom look, and closing above the 50 today would be very crucial. And today, by the way, is Friday. It's not the last day of the week for crypto, but it is the last day of the week for major markets, so I think that would be critical if we could close this day like this or higher, especially not just because you're closing above the 50 here, but you'd also be closing above this previous area where you kind of found resistance here, right, and a little bit of support. If you could close above that, that would be really nice. But really, truthfully, the area that you want to close above is the sweet spot itself, which would be, again, right there at about 41.73. If you can close above that, that'd be really good. Even if you close above 41, that's enticing, but the really enticing thing would be to close above this whole like range in itself. I'll take away this white line so it's easier to see the whole like white line range there. If not, if you reject this area, and especially if you get back below this 50, that might condemn you only to the 382 at about $38. Maybe it condemns you to the $37 range, which, again, that's not that far from 40, right? We've seen bigger drops in recent days. But it could condemn you to further prices lower. You know, you could, if you don't end up holding this 236 ultimately, I would doubt that you hold this as a low range. I would bet that you do continue to go lower, actually. And then we would see prices that kind of line up again with that original 786 retracement that I was talking about, if not the 886, and that would put us down to $30.77, if not $27, somewhere down there. I don't think that we would go lower. If we were to reach $27, I think that would be the lowest or somewhere around there, because I don't think that we're going to get a lower low than this. But at this point, I'm really indecisive as to whether I think this is the low or if we go lower or not. Right now, I do think that we go higher. Looking at the 4-hour RSI, man, very bullish looking 4-hour for sure. I'm glad that I bought this dip, you guys, this compound dip here. Bought some. I didn't time it perfectly, but I bought it like right around 39, so we're in the green right now. I think maybe it was 38.5 actually. I forget where I bought it, but you know, it went lower obviously, and then it came back up. But it could still go lower, whatever. If it goes lower, I'll buy more. If it goes up, I'll buy more whenever it dips. I don't know if it's buying territory right now. You know, it's your money. Do what you want with it. I'm not a financial advisor. What do I know? But I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But I don't know if it's buying territory now that after all this stagnation, we're at a current pump of about 16%. I think you might have, you know, missed your buying opportunity. But at the same time, if you're looking to invest in the long term, if we zoom out, you're at a low point here regardless. Even if we go lower, you know, like if you bought here versus buying here, in the grand scheme of things, you're not going to be upset with yourself. So if you're buying for the long term and you're not going to get shaken out if we do go a little bit lower, like do you, it's your money. But I do think, again, on this weekly RSI look, I think that we could go lower. We could stand to go lower and still be in good shape. On the price, we could go lower and still be in good shape. On the daily RSI, you know, we could just keep going up, man. It does look rather bullish, I have to say. Breaking this overall like trend to the downside that you had, right? These lower highs, breaking that in itself is a pretty significant thing, and that tends to, not always, but it tends to mark the end of a directional move, which our directional move at the moment is to the downside. So this could be marking the end of it. Does that mean that we can't go lower? No, it doesn't mean that. We still could go lower, but we're coming to the end of it. We might not, though. We really might not go lower. And this does look pretty good for a double bottom. I'm not going to lie. Volume increasing as you're coming out of it, right? You can see it here. This is on Binance, so I know the volume's good to count. Daily RSI looking good. Weekly RSI looking good. Let's look at the 4 hour. I was getting to that, but I got distracted. Bouncing off the 50 here. You're back in the bullish area of control. You're above the purple line. You are below the 50 here, so I would think that whatever move you get from here, maybe it is a bit sporadic and you do move up. Maybe you make your move all the way up to that 50 area that I was talking about, 50 to 53. But it might be given back and you might come back down to find support at this purple line. So that would be the case scenario I was talking about earlier, where I wouldn't buy here, but after it pumps and it were to come back down and have a decent retracement, test previous areas of resistance as support, that's where I would buy. And it might be at the same price, but after a move like that, after some more constructive price comes in, because if we just reject from here, that's not going to be constructive at all. And I would definitely be glad that I didn't buy here. But with that being said, I am holding some right now, so if it goes up, I'm happy. I'm definitely happy. But let's see, 4 hour looks pretty good. Not gonna lie, I think that it does look like it wants to go higher. This 4 hour candle, we only got 20 seconds left. It's gonna close very bullishly. Let's just take a moment and enjoy this together. Closing above the purple line like this, you might even be closing. You're not. It'd be nice to close above that, but it's not necessary. In fact, if you closed above that, it actually would set you up for some kind of like bearish divergence. But this next 4 hour could close up here somewhere, and you could have bearish divergence presented, but that doesn't mean that you go down. That doesn't mean you have to. It could mean that, but it doesn't mean you have to. And just the way that this RSI is reacting, I don't know if I would expect that. Maybe you do get some kind of bearish divergence overall. The price does come down a little bit, but then the RSI just like stays in this range and then it goes back up again. So watch for that. We might, as long as we're holding these higher lows and presenting higher highs, I think that that's a sign in itself that good things are coming. But we'll just see. We'll see how this next 4 hour goes. Let's see what the 1 hour looks like. 1 hour looks strong too, man. Totally reset itself. You're back in overbought territories. Had a really nice bounce off of this 50 here, right? You can see it right there, and that gave you room to pump up here. Now you're barely in the overbought zone. Volume is increasing as you're moving out. That's nice to see, man. It is really nice. Look at this even. It's not conventional. This is not conventional, by the way. You have an inverse head and shoulders right here at the top. It just doesn't, I mean, to be fair, it's at the bottom of this move. Maybe it's more pliable on like a 15-minute time frame. I don't know, man. You can see it though, right? I don't need the drawing on there. It kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders, which you don't generally see. A lot of people would say that that's not an inverse head and shoulders because it came at a top point, not at a bottoming point. But I don't know, man. Like, look at it here, right? This is shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Just for shits and grins. Oh, come on now. Maybe that's the place to take it from. Maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll take it from this one. We'll be conservative. Where the neckline breaks, that would gear us all the way back up to at least $41. And we're at $40.83, so that's really not too far away. About $1 away. But again, who knows? Who knows if this really is a head and shoulders or an inverse head and shoulders pattern? I don't think I would consider it that, because you don't get that after an up move. You get it after a down move. But I digress. That's I guess everything that I have to say about Compound. I do like this for a low. I really do like this for a low. I'm not completely convinced that we don't go lower yet. I think there is things that need to take place first, and we need to see how this thing reacts first before we get ahead of ourselves. There's still a lot of time before the halving, you guys. There's still a lot of time for things to be boring and bleed and throw some confusing moves. I made some videos yesterday talking about how for most cryptos, for basically the next 6 months to a year, we're going to see a lot of sideways action, but it's not just going to be completely sideways. It's going to be whatever goes up comes back down, whatever goes down comes back up. It's going to be and I wouldn't say it's going to be very volatile, but it's going to be very probably boring with up moves, and then they get sold back into, and then boring again with down moves, and then they get bought back into, and then very boring again, kind of like what we've been experiencing for a little while, right? boring. Very, very, very boring for like a week, and then drop. And then very, 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 very boring, and then we dropped, and then it came back. And now, we're really just back in the same zone. Who knows if we do continue to build from here. But I will say I like the daily. I like the 4-hour. I like the weekly. I think that if it wanted to find its low here and continue upward from here, that there's no reason why it couldn't, other than the fact that we still have, we still have a lot of time before the halving, and things don't really kick off till after the halving anyway. So like sometime after the halving. So this time could be different. It is possible. Anything can happen, but you do kind of have what's nice about this is from this low here to these lows. Yeah, you're holding this like little trend line here. It's kind of nice to see. I like this as a bottom, man. I really do like this as a bottom. But in 2 months' time, I could be eating my words on that. So I'm not convinced yet, but I do like it for a low. I would feel somewhat confident in saying that this could be a low. It looks like a low, but overall, it really depends on how we interact with this 618, 69 area from top to bottom here. This 60 to 65 area. That's going to be the ultimate test, truly. And then, even before that, we have the 236 and the 382. Probably, I would expect to find resistance here at the 382. But just because if we were to go up here and then reject, that doesn't mean that it's game over and we're going to continue to go lower. It could mean that we reject, we come down to the 236, and then we bounce from there. We come down to the 0.069, we find a higher low, and then we bounce from there. Who knows? We might not find resistance at the 382. We might come all the way up to the 618, 0.69 area, and that's why that's really the ultimate test. But we're a long ways away from there at the moment. In crypto land, a long ways away can be a short ways away for sure, but I would first keep my eyes on this like $50 area. We can break above it a little bit and still come back down. Okay, so just because we break above this line, it's not a brick wall. It's more of a line in the sand, right? You can break over, you can go over it, and it still is there. Let's see if we can get some days to close above it, or like not just one day, but like multiple days to close above it, and then like move on, press on from there. If not, again, if we reject this area and come back down, it's not the end of the world, but let's just see how things develop. I would much more comfortably buy, after seeing this rejection, buy on a bounce at the 236 than I would right here, where we could be rejecting this overall, or not this overall, but this more relative 618 area. Right, we're at like the sweet spot of this top to bottom here. So it is possible, even though things look bullish on the indicators right now, I have to say they do. It is possible we could reject from here. It wouldn't take much to turn this thing around. So we're only up 4% on the day, so it really wouldn't take much to turn this thing around. But I think it's going up as I'm talking about it. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to see more. I basically think that compound's probably going to go up in the meantime, and then we'll see from there. And in the meantime, in the coming days and in the coming weeks, probably. But that's all I got for you guys. Take care. Bye bye.